A human warrior donated blood to a dying alien princess. What happened next changed. Both their Livest medical station floated silently in the void between two warring worlds. Staff Sergeant Marcus Chen sat on the edge of his hospital bed, watching the stars through the small window. His left arm was still wrapped in healing bandages from the last battle on Kepler 7. The doctors said he would be fine in a few more days. Marcus had been a soldier for 8 years. He had fought the Zephyrians on 12 different planets. They were tall, blue-skinned aliens with silver eyes that seemed to glow in the dark. Most humans feared them. Marcus respected them as worthy enemies, but he had never thought of them as anything more than that. The peace talks had been going on for 3 months now. This medical station was neutral ground, where wounded soldiers from both sides could receive treatment. It was strange seeing Zephyrian patients in the same halls, where human Marines recovered from their injuries. A loud alarm suddenly broke the quiet. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Marcus heard running footsteps and worried voices. He grabbed his uniform jacket and stepped out of his room. "What's happening?" he asked a passing nurse. "Emergency in Base 7, she said, not stopping. Something about the Zephyrian princess, Princess Lyrale. Marcus had heard about her. She was supposed to be the most important person in the Zephyrian peace delegation. The daughter of their emperor, she was known for being wise and fair. Many people believed she was the key to ending this long war. Marcus followed the crowd toward Base 7. When he arrived, he saw chaos. Zephyrian nobles in their flowing robes stood round a medical bed, speaking rapidly in their musical language. Their faces showed fear and worry. On the bed lay a young Zephyrian female, her blue skin pale and covered in dark spots. Dr. Sarah Kim, the chief human physician, was scanning the patient with various medical devices. Her face was grim. Marcus had seen that expression before. It meant someone was dying. "Her condition is getting worse," Dr. Kim said to the Zephyrian nobles. "The plague is spreading through her blood faster than we expected." The tallest Zephyrian, wearing golden robes, stepped forward. "Can your human medicine help her?" His English was perfect, but heavily accented. Dr. Kim shook her head slowly. "I'm sorry, Lord Valeth. This blood plague is unlike anything we've seen. Our medicines don't work on Zephyrian biology. Your own doctors have tried everything." Marcus watched as the nobles exchanged worried glances. One of them, an elderly female, began to weep softly. The princess was clearly loved by her people. "How long does she have?" Lord Valeth asked quietly. "Maybe 6 hours," Dr. Kim replied. "The plague is destroying her blood cells. Her body can't carry oxygen to her organs anymore." Marcus found himself stepping closer. He had never seen a Zephyrian up close before. Princess Lyrale looked younger than he had expected. Maybe in her early 20s by human standards. Her breathing was shallow and quick, even unconscious. Her face showed pain. "Wait," Dr. Kim said suddenly. She was staring at her scanner with wide eyes. "This is impossible." "What is it, Doctor?" Lord Valeth demanded. Dr. Kim looked up at the gathered Zephyrians, then at Marcus and the other humans who had come to watch. "I need to run more tests, but I think human blood might be able to fight this plague." The room went completely silent. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat. "Human blood," Lord Valeth repeated. "What do you mean?" Dr. Kim was typing rapidly on her computer. "The plague attacks blood cells by breaking down their protective walls. But human blood cells have a different structure. They're tougher, more adaptable. Our antibodies might be able to neutralize the plague organisms." One of the younger Zephyrian nobles hissed in anger. "You suggest mixing our pure blood with human contamination?" "It's not contamination," Dr. Kim said firmly. "It's medicine. But there's a problem. The princess is too weak for a normal blood transfusion. The procedure would need to be direct, continuous. Whoever donates would need to be connected to her for hours while their blood systems work together." Lord Valeth looked troubled. "Has this ever been done before? Human and Zephyrian blood mixing?" "Never," Dr. Kim admitted. "It could be dangerous for both the donor and the patient. There could be reactions we can't predict. The donor might not survive." Marcus stepped forward. Before he could stop himself, "I'll do it." Everyone turned to stare at him. The Zephyrian nobles looked shocked. The human medical staff seemed surprised. Sergeant Chen. Dr. Kim said carefully, "You don't understand the risks. This has never been attempted. You could die." Marcus looked down at the dying princess. She reminded him of his younger sister back on Earth. Sarah had died in a transport accident 3 years ago. He hadn't been able to save her. "She's just a kid," Marcus said quietly. "If there's a chance this could work, we have to try." Lord Val studied Marcus with his silver eyes. "You would risk your life for one of your enemies." Marcus met his gaze. "She's not my enemy right now. She's just someone who needs help." The elderly Zephyrian female who had been crying stepped forward. "I'm Lady Morvain, the princess's grandmother. Human warrior, why would you do this for us?" Marcus thought for a moment. "Because it's the right thing to do. Because maybe if we start helping each other instead of fighting, this war can finally end." Dr. Kim was already preparing equipment. "If we're going to do this, we need to start now. Her condition is critical." The Zephyrian nobles spoke among themselves in their own language for several minutes. Finally, Lord Valeth nodded. "We accept your offer, human, but know that if you harm our princess, there will be consequences." "I understand," Marcus said. As Dr. Kim prepared the transfusion equipment, Marcus lay down on the bed next to Princess Lyrale. Up close, he could see that her skin was covered in sweat. Her breathing was getting weaker. "Are you sure about this, Sergeant?" Dr. Kim asked as she inserted the needles. Marcus watched the tubes fill with his red blood flowing toward the pale blue blood of the alien princess. "I'm sure." The machines began to hum. Human and Zephyrian blood mixed for the first time in galactic history. Everyone in the room watched the monitors showing both patients' vital signs. For the first few minutes, everything seemed stable. Then, Princess Lyrale's heart rate began to drop rapidly. The monitors started beeping frantically. Her blood pressure was falling. "She's going into cardiac arrest," Dr. Kim shouted. The princess's heart stopped beating just as the transfusion completed. The heart monitor showed a flat line for 12 seconds. Dr. Kim worked frantically, pressing her hands against the princess's chest to restart her heart. The Zephyrian nobles stood frozen in horror. Marcus felt weak from the blood loss, but he watched every second with growing fear. "Come on," Dr. Kim whispered as she worked. "Come on. Don't give up." Suddenly, the monitor beeped, then again. Princess Lyrale's heart began beating slowly but steadily. Her breathing became deeper. The dark spots on her blue skin started to fade. "She's stabilizing," Dr. Kim announced with relief. "The human antibodies are working. They're fighting the plague." Lord Val stepped closer to the bed. "Will she recover?" "I think so," Dr. Kim said, checking her instruments. "But she needs rest. The next few days will be critical." Marcus tried to sit up but felt dizzy. A nurse helped him back to his room. As he walked away, he felt strange. There was a buzzing sensation in his head, like distant music he couldn't quite hear. For 3 days, Marcus recovered from the blood loss. The buzzing in his head grew stronger. Sometimes he had dreams that didn't feel like his own dreams. He saw places he had never been, beautiful crystal cities under twin suns, vast forests with silver trees, oceans that glow with their own light. On the 4th day, Dr. Kim came to his room with an excited expression. "Sergeant Chen, I have amazing news. Princess Lyrale is awake and completely healthy. The plague is gone from her system." Marcus smiled. "That's great, Doc. Can I see her?" Dr. Kim looked hesitant. "Well, that's the interesting part. She's been asking to see you, actually. She's been demanding to see you. She says she needs to talk to you about something important." 20 minutes later, Marcus stood outside the princess's room. The Zephyrian guards watched him carefully. Inside, he could hear voices speaking in the musical Zephyrian language. Dr. Kim knocked on the door. "Your Highness, Sergeant Chen is here. Please, let him enter," came a voice from inside. It was soft but clear. Speaking perfect English, Marcus walked into the room. Princess Lyrale sat up in her bed, looking completely healthy. Her skin was bright blue again, and her silver eyes seemed to glow. She was beautiful in a way that was completely alien, but somehow familiar. When their eyes met, Marcus felt a shock go through his mind. The buzzing became louder, and suddenly he could sense her emotions, curiosity, gratitude, and something like recognition. The princess gasped and put her hand to her head. "You feel it too," she said quietly. "Feel what?" Marcus asked, though he already knew. "The connection. Our minds are linked somehow." She looked at Lord Valith and the other nobles in the room. "Please leave us alone. I need to speak with the human privately." Lord Valith frowned. "Princess, that is not safe. We do not know what effects the blood mixing has caused." "I'm fine, uncle. Please go." Reluctantly, the Zephyrian nobles left the room. Dr. Kim started to follow them, but the princess asked her to stay. "Sergeant Chen," the princess said. "What is your first name?" "Marcus, your highness. Please, just call me Lyrale. We are connected now in ways I do not fully understand." She closed her eyes for a moment. "I can sense your memories, Marcus. I see your sister Sarah, who died in an accident. I feel your sadness about her death." Marcus stepped back in shock. "How do you know about Sarah? I never told anyone here." "About her, the blood connection," Lyrale explained. "When your blood mixed with mine, it created a bridge between our minds. I can feel your thoughts and emotions. Can you sense mine?" Marcus concentrated. Slowly, he began to feel things that weren't his own feelings. He sensed the princess's love for her people, her worry about the war, her loneliness at being the only heir to the Zephyrian throne. "This is impossible," Dr. Kim whispered. "Blood transfusions don't create psychic connections." Lyrale looked at her sadly. "Doctor, there are things about my people that yours do not understand. We Zephyrians are all connected through what you might call a collective consciousness. We can share thoughts and feelings with each other. But humans," she looked at Marcus with wonder, "humans have something we lost long ago." "What do you mean?" Marcus asked. "Individual willpower." Lyrale explained. "Through your memories, I experienced something amazing. I felt what it's like to make a decision completely on your own, without hearing the thoughts of thousands of others. You humans can stand alone and choose your own path. We cannot." Marcus was beginning to understand. "So when our blood mixed, I gained access to your collective consciousness, and you gained access to human independence." "Yes. But there is more." Lyrale's expression became serious. "Through the collective consciousness, I have learned something terrible. The blood plague that almost killed me, it was not natural." Dr. Kim leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "It is a weapon," Lyrale said, "created by a species called the Devourers. They are planning to use it to weaken both humans and Zephyrians before they invade our space." Marcus felt a chill. "How do you know this?" "The collective consciousness spans across many worlds. Other Zephyrians have been infected with the plague on distant planets, but now I can see the pattern, the timing. It is to organize to be natural." Dr. Kim was typing rapidly on her computer. "If this is true, we need to warn both governments immediately. They will not believe us," Lyrale said sadly. "My own people will think I am contaminated by human blood. They will say I can no longer be trusted. Your people will think I am lying to gain some advantage." Marcus sat down heavily. "So what do? We must work together," Lyrale said. "The connection between us is stronger than anything either of our species has experienced before. Through me, you can access Zephyrian knowledge and technology. Through you, I can learn human creativity and independence." Dr. Kim looked worried. "Princess, if your people find out about this mental connection, what will happen?" Lyrale's face became sad. "They will declare me unfit to rule. In our culture, having one's mind influenced by another species is considered a great shame. I may be exiled, and if my commanders find out I can read alien thoughts," Marcus added, "they'll probably think I'm a security risk." "So we are both caught between our peoples," Lyrale said. No longer fully human or fully Zephyrian. For several minutes, they sat in silence. Then Marcus felt something through their connection. Determination and hope. "Maybe that's not a bad thing," he said slowly. "Maybe what both our species need is someone who understands both sides." Lyrali smiled for the first time since waking up. You think like a diplomat now, Marcus. Yes. Perhaps this connection happened for a reason. Dr. Kim was still working on her computer. I'm seeing reports coming in from human colonies. The same. Plague is starting to appear in our territory too. Marcus and Lyrali looked at each other. Through their connection, they both understood. The Devourer attack had already begun. How long do we have? Marcus asked. Lyrali closed her eyes, reaching out through the collective consciousness. When she opened them again, her face was pale. I can sense Devourer scout ships at the edge of this solar system. They are watching, waiting to see how badly the plague weakens us. Then we don't have much time. Marcus said, standing up. We need to warn everyone. Outside the window, space looked peaceful and empty. But Marcus now knew that somewhere in that darkness, an enemy was preparing to destroy everything both humans and Zephyrians had built. The connection between him and Lyrali pulsed with shared purpose. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. The emergency meeting took place in the station's main conference room. Admiral Thompson represented the human coalition, while Emperor Zirian himself had arrived to speak for the Zephyrians. The room was tense with centuries of mistrust. Marcus stood beside Princess Lyrali as they prepared to share what they had learned. Through their mental connection, he could feel her nervousness. She could sense his determination to make them believe. Honored leaders, Lyrali began. We have discovered that the blood plague is not a natural disease. It is a weapon created by an alien species called the Devourers. Admiral Thompson frowned. Princess, with respect. How could you possibly know this? Marcus stepped forward. Sir, during the blood transfusion, something unexpected happened. The princess and I developed a mental connection. Through her link to the Zephyrian collective consciousness, we can access information from across their empire. The Emperor's silver eyes widened in shock. Lyrali, is this true? You have allowed a human into our collective mind. It was not intentional, Father, Lyrali replied. But yes, Sergeant Chen can now access our shared knowledge. And I have gained something from him, the ability to think independently. Without the influence of our collective thoughts, Emperor Zirian looked horrified. This is an abomination. You have contaminated our pure bloodline with alien thoughts. Admiral Thompson was equally disturbed. Sergeant Chen, if you have access to classified Zephyrian information, you represent a massive security breach. Marcus felt anger rising in his chest. Sir, with respect, we're trying to save both our species. The Devourers are planning to invade while we're weakened by the plague. Show them, Lyrali whispered through their connection. Marcus closed his eyes and reached through their bond into the Zephyrian collective consciousness. Images flashed through his mind, reports from distant worlds, scout ship sightings, plague outbreaks that followed suspicious patterns. The plague appeared simultaneously on 12 human colonies and 15 Zephyrian worlds, Marcus said, his eyes still closed. All of them are strategic locations, major supply routes, military bases, shipyards. This isn't random. It's a coordinated attack designed to weaken our defenses. Dr. Kim projected a star map on the wall. I've been analyzing the plague outbreaks. Sergeant Chen is right. The pattern is too organized to be natural. Emperor Zirian stood up angrily. Even if this is true, my daughter is no longer fit to represent our people. She has been corrupted by human influence. Your Majesty, Lyrali said calmly, I understand your concerns, but this connection has given me new insights. I can now see solutions that pure Zephyrian thinking could never find. Admiral Thompson shook his head. This is all very interesting, but even if these Devourers exist, what can we do? Our fleets are busy fighting each other. Marcus and Lyrali exchanged glances. Through their connection, they shared an idea that neither could have conceived alone. We propose a new kind of alliance, Marcus said. Not just our governments working together, but our people joining at a deeper level. What do you mean? Admiral Thompson asked. Lyrali stepped forward. The blood transfusion that saved my life also created something new, a hybrid consciousness that combines human creativity with Zephyrian coordination. If others volunteer for the same procedure, We could create mixed units that fight with unprecedented unity. The room erupted in shocked voices. Both human and Zephyrian advisors began protesting loudly. "You want our soldiers to mix their blood with aliens?" Admiral Thompson demanded. "It is madness." Emperor Zirian declared, "Our people will never accept such contamination." Marcus felt frustration building inside him through their connection. Lyrale sensed his emotions and placed a calming hand on his arm. "We understand your concerns," she said diplomatically. "But consider this, our conventional forces have failed against the plague. Traditional thinking will not save us from the devourers." Dr. Kim cleared her throat. "If I may, I've been studying the blood samples from both patients. The combination creates antibodies that are far more effective than either species could produce. Alone, from a medical standpoint, this could be the key to stopping the plague. And from a military standpoint," Marcus added, "the mental connection allows perfect coordination. Lyrale and I can anticipate each other's actions, share information instantly, and work together in ways that would be impossible for normal teams." Admiral Thompson looked thoughtful. "Even if this worked, the risks would be enormous. We don't know the long-term effects of mixing human and alien biology." "The risk of doing nothing is greater," Lyrale replied. "The devourers are counting on us remaining divided. They expect us to keep fighting each other while they prepare their invasion." Emperor Zirian stood up abruptly. "I will not allow my people to participate in this madness. Lyrale, you are no longer welcome in the royal family. Your contamination by human blood makes you unfit to be my heir." Marcus felt Lyrale's pain through their connection, but also her resolve. "I understand, Father, but I will not abandon my duty to protect our people, even if they no longer consider me one of them." The Emperor left the meeting with most of the Zephyrian delegation. Only a few younger nobles remained, looking uncertain. Admiral Thompson watched them go. "Sergeant Chen, even if I wanted to support this plan, my superiors would never approve mixing human blood with alien biology. You're both asking the impossible." "Then we'll have to prove it works without official approval," Marcus said firmly. After the meeting ended, Marcus and Lyrale found themselves alone in the conference room. Around them, the medical station continued its work, treating wounded soldiers from both sides. "So we're both outcasts now," Marcus said quietly. "Yes," Lyrale replied, "but perhaps that gives us freedom to do what needs to be done." Through their connection, Marcus sensed her plan forming. "You want to find volunteers ourselves. Soldiers who care more about ending this war than following orders," she confirmed. "People who can see beyond the hatred between our species." Over the next week, they quietly approached individuals from both sides. Some were disgusted by the idea. Others were intrigued but too afraid to risk their careers. But a few listened with open minds. Captain Eleanor Rodriguez had lost her entire unit to a Zephyrian attack 6 months earlier. But she had also seen how both sides suffered in this war. When Marcus explained the plan, she was the first human to volunteer. Sub-Commander Thrust was a young Zephyrian officer whose brother had died from the plague. Despite his people's prejudices, he believed that desperate times required desperate measures. Dr. Kim agreed to perform the procedures in secret, using a hidden medical bay in the station's lower levels. One by one, volunteers from both species underwent the blood bonding process. Not everyone survived. The procedure was dangerous, and some volunteers died from biological incompatibility. But those who lived emerged changed, no longer purely human or Zephyrian, but something new. The bonded pairs could coordinate their actions with supernatural precision. They shared knowledge, skills, and instincts. A human pilot bonded with a Zephyrian navigator could fly ships in ways neither species had imagined possible. After 2 weeks, they had created a small unit of 12 bonded pairs. They trained together in secret, learning to use their new abilities. But their secret couldn't last forever. Warning. Dr. Kim's voice echoed through the hidden medical bay. "Security forces from both fleets are heading this way. Someone reported our activities." Marcus felt alarm spike through his connection with Lyrale. "We're not ready for a real fight yet. We may not have a choice," she replied. Through the station's windows, They could see warships from both the human coalition and Zephyrian Empire approaching. But beyond them, at the edge of sensor range, new contacts were appearing on the scanners. Ships with an unfamiliar design, moving in perfect formation. The Devourers had arrived. All units, Marcus called to their small group of bonded warriors. This is it. Time to show both our peoples what we can accomplish together. As alarms began sounding throughout the station, Marcus and Lyrale led their hybrid unit toward the docking bays. The future of both species now depended on soldiers, who belonged fully to neither. The Devourer ships moved like a dark cloud across space. Marcus counted at least 50 vessels, each one larger than the biggest human or Zephyrian warship. Their hulls were black as night, with no lights or markings. They moved in perfect silence toward the medical station. All human and Zephyrian forces, this is Admiral Thompson. Came a voice over the communication system. Unknown hostile fleet approaching. All differences are suspended. Repeat. All conflicts are suspended until this threat is eliminated. Through the station's windows, Marcus watched as human and Zephyrian warships moved into defensive positions. For the first time in decades, the two fleets were working together instead of fighting each other. It's not going to be enough, Lyrale said through their mental connection. I can sense the Devourers' thoughts. They expected this. They planned for our forces to unite against them. Marcus gathered their small group of bonded warriors in the station's main hangar. 12 pairs of humans and Zephyrians stood ready, their minds linked, their purposes unified. Captain Rodriguez, bonded with Subcommander Thris, stepped forward. What are your orders, Sergeant? Marcus looked at Lyrale. Through their connection, they shared the same thought. We're going to show both fleets what the Unity Protocol can really do. The first Devourer attack came without warning. Beams of purple energy lanced out from their ships, striking the Allied defensive line. 3 human cruisers exploded instantly. A Zephyrian destroyer was cut in half. Their weapons are more advanced than ours, Admiral Thompson's voice crackled. Over the radio, all ships fall back to secondary positions. But the Devourers followed, pressing their advantage. Their ships moved with the coordination of a hive mind, anticipating every move the Allied forces made. Marcus. Dr. Kim's voice came through his communicator. I've been monitoring the battle. The Devourers are reading our tactical patterns. They know how both humans and Zephyrians think in combat. Then it's time to show them something they've never seen before, Marcus replied. He turned to address his bonded warriors. Listen carefully. We're going to take the fastest ships we can find and engage the enemy directly. Our mental connections give us an advantage. They won't expect. Lieutenant Sarah Park, bonded with Navigator Quellen, raised her hand. Sir, 12 fighters against 50 capital ships? That's suicide. Not if we fight like neither humans nor Zephyrians have ever fought before, Lyrale said. Joining the group, our minds are linked. We can coordinate attacks that will confuse their hive intelligence within minutes. The bonded pairs had commandeered 12 small fighter craft. Marcus and Lyrale shared the lead ship, their minds working as one to pilot the vessel. As they flew toward the Devourer fleet, Marcus felt the thoughts and emotions of all the other bonded pairs. It was like being part of a small army where every soldier knew exactly what the others were thinking. Incoming fighters. Came a transmission from the Devourer fleet. The voice was cold and mechanical. Deploying interceptors. Black fighter ships poured out of the Devourer vessels like angry insects. They moved in perfect formation, their weapons already charging. Now, Marcus said. The bonded fighters scattered in 12 different directions, but their movements were perfectly coordinated. Through their mental links, each pair knew exactly where the others were going. They wove between the Devourer interceptors like dancers performing a complex routine. Captain Rodriguez and Subcommander Thris dove low, drawing enemy fire while Lieutenant Park and Navigator Quellen circled high to attack from above. Each bonded pair moved to support the others without needing radio communication. The Devourer's hive mind tried to predict their movements, but the combination of human unpredictability and Zephyrian precision created patterns it had never encountered before. Impossible. Came the mechanical voice from the enemy fleet. These Tactics do not match known behavioral profiles. Marcus smiled as he and Lyrale spun their fighter through a complex spiral, avoiding enemy fire while targeting a Devourer cruiser's weapon systems. That's because we're not following anyone's profile. We're writing a new one. The 12 bonded fighters struck like lightning. They destroyed weapon ports, damaged engines, and created chaos in the Devourer formation. For the first time, the enemy fleet began to show confusion. Admiral Thompson. Marcus called over the radio. Now's your chance. Hit them while they're disrupted. The Allied fleet surged forward. Human ships provided covering fire while Zephyrian vessels used their advanced shields to protect the more vulnerable craft. Working together, they began to push the Devourers back. But the enemy adapted quickly. The largest Devourer ship, a massive vessel shaped like a black triangle, began to emit a strange energy pulse. Warning, Lyrale said, her face suddenly pale. They're targeting our mental connections. I can feel something trying to break into our bond. Marcus felt it too, a cold presence trying to invade his mind. Through their connection, he sensed the same thing happening to all the other bonded pairs. It's a psychic weapon. Dr. Kim's voice came over the communicator. They're trying to turn your mental links against you. One by one, the bonded fighters began to lose coordination. Lieutenant Park screamed as her connection with Navigator Quellen was severed violently. Their fighter spun out of control and crashed into an asteroid. We're losing them, Marcus said, fighting to maintain his own connection with Lyrale. The psychic attack is too strong. No, Lyrale said firmly. Our bond is different from the others. We were connected through sacrifice, not just tactical necessity. That makes us stronger. She was right. While the other bonded pairs struggled against the psychic attack, Marcus and Lyrale's connection remained stable. Their love and trust for each other provided an anchor that the Devourer weapon couldn't break. All surviving bonded pairs, Marcus called over the radio, linked through us. Use our connection as a bridge. The remaining warriors reached out. Through their damaged mental bonds, connecting to Marcus and Lyrale's stable link. One by one, they regained their coordination. Formation Delta, Lyrale called. And without needing further explanation, all the bonded fighters moved into a complex attack pattern that no single species could have conceived. This is Admiral Thompson to all ships, came a voice over the fleet communications. I don't know what you people are doing out there, but whatever it is, keep doing it. The enemy is falling back. The Devourer fleet began to withdraw, but their largest ship remained behind. The massive triangle turned toward the medical station, its weapons charging for a final devastating attack. They're going to destroy the station, Marcus realized. All the wounded soldiers, the medical staff, everyone will die through their connection. He and Lyrale shared the same desperate plan. It was dangerous, probably impossible, but it was their only chance. All bonded pairs, Marcus called. We're going to ram the enemy flagship. Concentrate all our mental energy into one coordinated strike. Sir, came Captain Rodriguez's voice. That's suicide. Maybe, Marcus replied, but if we don't stop that ship, thousands of innocent people will die. The 8 remaining bonded fighters turned as one toward the massive Devourer vessel. Their minds linked together, sharing courage and determination across species lines. As they accelerated towards certain death, Marcus felt something unexpected through their connection. Hope, not just from Lyrale, but from the other bonded warriors, from the crews of the Allied fleet, from people on both human and Zephyrian worlds who were watching this battle. They were no longer outcasts fighting alone. They represented the future that both species could build together. The Devourer flagship's weapons reached full charge, ready to destroy everything they were trying to protect. The 8 bonded fighters raced toward the massive Devourer flagship like shooting stars. Marcus felt the minds of all his companions linked through him and Lyrale, their fears, their hopes, their determination to protect the innocent people on the medical station. 30 seconds to impact, Captain Rodriguez reported through their mental connection. The Devourer ship's weapons powered up to full charge. Purple energy began gathering at dozens of weapon ports along its triangular hull. In moments, it would Unleash enough firepower to destroy the medical station and everyone aboard. Wait, Lyrale said suddenly through their shared consciousness. I sense something. The Devourers are confused by our willingness to sacrifice ourselves. Their hive mind cannot understand why we would choose death to save others. Marcus felt it through their connection. A moment of hesitation from the enemy flagship. The Devourers had expected the bonded fighters to retreat when faced with certain death. They don't understand sacrifice, Marcus realized. Their hive mind only thinks about survival and conquest. They can't predict actions based on love or loyalty. Then let's show them what they're missing, Lyrale replied, through their mental link. She shared a new plan with all the bonded fighters. Instead of ramming the flagship directly, they would use their connection to coordinate the most complex attack pattern ever attempted. All fighters, break formation now, Marcus called. The 8 ships scattered in different directions, but their movements were perfectly synchronized. Each bonded pair knew exactly where the others would be at every moment. Captain Rodriguez and Subcommander Thris dove toward the flagship's weapon systems. Lieutenant Chen and Navigator Vorthik attacked the shield generators. The other pairs struck at communication arrays, sensor nodes, and engine components. The Devourer flagship tried to target them, but the bonded fighters moved like they were parts of a single organism. When one ship was in danger, another would draw enemy fire. When weapons needed to recharge, a different pair would take over the attack. Impossible coordination detected, came the mechanical voice from the enemy ship. Tactical analysis failing. A known battle pattern. Marcus and Lyrale flew their fighter directly at the flagship's main weapon, the massive cannon that was preparing to destroy the medical station. Round them, enemy fire filled space, but their bonded partners covered their approach perfectly. 5 seconds, Lyrale warned. Marcus fired everything their small fighter had at the weapon's energy core. The explosion that followed lit up space like a small sun. The flagship's main weapon went dark, but the ship still had dozens of smaller weapons, and they were all turning toward the medical station. It's not enough, Marcus said with frustration. We stopped the big gun, but they can still destroy the station with their other weapons. Through their connection, Lyrale reached out to something Marcus hadn't expected, the collective consciousness of her. People spread across the galaxy, my fellow Zephyrians. She broadcast through the mental network that connected her species. You have seen me as contaminated by human blood, but that contamination has given me strength. It has shown me that we are stronger when we work with others, not alone. From across Zephyrian space, Marcus felt minds responding. Not all of them, but many young Zephyrians who were tired of endless war, soldiers who had seen their friends die fighting humans instead of real enemies. I call upon those who believe in unity, Lyrale continued. Join your minds with ours. Help us show the galaxy what cooperation can achieve. Marcus felt the mental network growing, hundreds, then thousands of Zephyrian minds linked to their small group of bonded fighters. But something else was happening too. Sergeant Chen, came Admiral Thompson's voice over the radio. I don't know what you people are doing, but our human pilots are reporting that they can suddenly sense each other's thoughts. It's like they're all connected somehow, through Lyrale's expanded consciousness. Marcus was somehow linking human minds to. Pilots who had never met could suddenly coordinate their movements perfectly. Gunners could predict where their targets would be without using computers. The Allied fleet began moving like a single organism. Human creativity combined with Zephyrian precision multiplied across hundreds of ships' retreat. Came the mechanical voice from the Devourer flagship. A known weapon detected. Tactical advantage lost, but the Devourers had waited too long. The Allied fleet, now fighting with perfect coordination, surrounded the enemy ships. The battle was over in minutes. As the last Devourer vessel exploded, Marcus felt something incredible through the expanded mental network, peace. For the first time in decades, human and Zephyrian minds were truly at peace with each other. The connection began to fade as the immediate crisis passed, but something had changed permanently. Both species had felt what it was like to work together instead of fighting each other. 3 months later, Marcus stood in the great assembly hall on the neutral world of Haven. Representatives from both the Human Coalition and the Zephyrian Empire had gathered to sign the Synthesis Accords. Beside him, Princess Lyrale wore the robes of the first dual ambassador, representing not just her own people, but the future both species would build together. "The blood transfusion that saved my life," she said to the assembled delegates, "created more than just a medical miracle. It created a bridge between our peoples. Today, we make that bridge permanent." Emperor Zirian, who had slowly accepted his daughter's new role, stepped forward. The Synthesis Accords establish integration academies on 12 worlds. Young humans and Zephyrians who choose to undergo the bonding process will train there as diplomats, scientists, and explorers. Admiral Thompson, now representing the Human Coalition's new cooperative defense force, added, "These bonded pairs will help both our species face future challenges together. The Devourers may return someday, but they will find us united, not divided." Marcus watched as the first group of Integration Academy cadets entered the hall. 20 young humans and 20 young Zephyrians, all volunteers who had chosen to undergo the blood bonding process. Unlike the desperate medical procedure that had created his connection with Lyrale, these bondings were careful, planned, and safe. Dr. Kim had perfected the process, reducing the risks while preserving the mental connection that made cooperation possible. Dual Ambassador Chen, one of the cadets said, approaching him with a smile. "Will you and Dual Ambassador Lyrale be teaching at the academy?" Marcus smiled at the title. After months of being outcasts, he and Lyrale were now honored as the founders of a new era. "We'll be there," he promised. "Someone has to teach you how to think like both human and Zephyrian at the same time." Through his permanent connection with Lyrale, Marcus felt her amusement and happiness. They had come so far from that desperate day in the medical bay when a dying alien princess had needed human blood to survive. "The future is going to be interesting," she said through their mental link. Marcus looked out the window at the mixed fleet of human and Zephyrian ships patrolling Haven's skies together. Children from both species played in the gardens below, learning each other's languages and customs. "Yes," he agreed, "very interesting." In the distance, construction crews were building the first Integration Academy. Soon, young people from both species would learn to work together not because of crisis or desperation, but because they chose to. The blood that had once separated humans and Zephyrians had become the bridge that united them. And from that unity, a new chapter of galactic civilization was beginning. Marcus felt a familiar sensation through his connection with Lyrale, the same hope and determination that had driven him to donate his blood to save a dying enemy. That single act of compassion had changed two lives. Now it was changing the galaxy. As the signing ceremony ended and delegates from both species mingled freely, for the first time in decades, Marcus knew that the real work was just beginning. There would be challenges ahead, misunderstandings to overcome, and new threats to face. But humanity and the Zephyrians would face them together, united by bonds stronger than blood, bonds of choice, understanding, and shared purpose. The age of division was ending. The age of synthesis had begun.